Hello, Hamish and Miriam Bell from Stuff Masthead. You're a senior business journalist.
I am. Hello,
and,
Hamish.
You look at house prices a lot.
I do. I spend a lot of time reading about house prices and sales.
Because you know what house prices are going to do. You're going to predict that today for us, right?
No one wants to do that anymore.
Well, we'll have a look at what's been happening and get a feel, right? So, you found this interesting, the number of sales, right?
I did find the number of sales interesting. I mean, the increase in national sales in February was 37.9 on the same time last year. But February last year was a bit of a difficult month due to the extreme weather events in Auckland and around the country. And that that increase in sales activity is coming off a low base. Having said that, it is an increase, and the increase from January, which was also a low sales month, was noticeable too.
Yep.
So it sort of indicates that perhaps activity is trending up a bit, which is
Yeah, and I can see that with Auckland being probably more of an uplift compared to the rest of the country.
Annually, Auckland had a 52.9% increase in February, which is significant. I would note here that the economists all point to the seasonally adjusted figures and say that the increase is not as stark as that appears, but I think most people would agree there has been an increase.
Yeah, but I think the median, it is good to get past those COVID years though, because we always, at least now we're comparing to like last year, which was actually a not a lockdown kind of month. So if we look at that nationally, it's looking quite positive.
There have been a few consecutive months, or more than a few consecutive months of sort of sales and median prices ticking up slowly. I mean, sometimes it hasn't been particularly dramatic, and again, the economists say that prices are sort of largely going sideways, but they're not falling. And a year or so ago, there were quite significant falls in prices almost every month. So in that sense, I think the market has probably bottomed out, and it's now, correcting, which is a positive thing.
So in terms of Auckland, right, if we kind of drill down, Auckland's obviously, if we look at this graph, it's stabilised and moving up, as we've said. If we drill down into some parts of Auckland, let me just find the actual thing here, the actual region trends. I noticed that Auckland City is in positive territory here.
Yeah.
2.2%.
Auckland City is an interesting area. Obviously, it includes the CBD apartment market, which was particularly hard hit by COVID and the lockdowns. But also some of those fringe city areas which are quite expensive, such as Herne Bay, which is still the most expensive suburb in the country.
Yep.
And so that has different effects
dynamics
on it causes different dynamics. But certainly around my area, there seems to be a lot of activity going on. I live in that area,
which is not far from Herne Bay.
But
you don't live in Manukau City, which looks like it's probably gone a little bit flatter.
Yes.
But in saying that, I think that also feeds into my theory of not my theory, but investors are not.
Yeah, I think that is something in that. Certainly, by far and away, the most active group in the market is first home buyers, and investors have been quite subdued by historical standards. So in areas like South Auckland, which traditionally does have a higher percentage of investor buyers, it's probably showing through.
And then you do write a lot about Wellington.
I do.
And I've often wondered, like, if you're thinking about investing out of Auckland, I've often wondered about Lower Hutt.
Lower Hutt and Upper Hutt both had significant price increases during the last boom, and also quite significant price fall subsequently. But there has been a bit of a uptick in recovery in Wellington over the last few months. It seems
looks like a lot of people have figured that Lower Hutt thing out. It's 10% increase.
Well, the prices are lower than closer to Wellington, so there is that aspect, and potentially. I'm not sure of the ins and outs of the infrastructure woes in this particular area. Maybe there's more leeway in that too.
You mean the government kind of culling the staff, the headcount.
But it's an area that will be interesting to watch, and And I'm sure that there'll be many investors who are sort of keeping quite a close eye on that particular part of that region.
If we look at these kind of overall median graphs, right? You got Wellington there. You can see like a big peak and a trough. You got Auckland there, a big peak and a trough. But then when I go down to Christchurch has been
Christchurch is a bit of
stable.
a separate market in many ways. Well, obviously it's separate. It's quite different to the other main centres. I mean, the effect of the earthquake and the rebuild mean that its cycle is slightly out of kilter with the rest of the market, but it also had a different sort of impact on housing availability, basically, due to the building during the rebuild, but also the way land was opened up to build on. So that has sort of helped to keep Christchurch prices at, a comparatively more affordable level than the other main centres.
And it looks like it is kind of picking up.
Yes, I see in the RANZ figures that there was a 6.8% increase in Christchurch City's median price annually in February. So they now have a median of 721,000, which, again, looking at Auckland, for example, is quite a different entry price for people there.
Yeah, although, it depends how remote you can work these days.
It does, but I gather that there's a lot more facility for that in a larger centre rather than in a rural or regional area. Yeah,
because I think it is a strange country because we've got Auckland with nearly 2 million people probably, and then it drops down to Christchurch and Wellington around 500,000. Well, I shouldn't say 500,000, but I think it's 400,000, right? And then you got the rest of the country, which is probably less than 200,000.
Although isn't Hamilton growing vastly at the moment? Wasn't there I think there was some data about that recently.
You're counting the sheep as well. No, it is got good growth, but I think it's still 200,000-ish. Yeah. Or below,
I think there is a huge difference. I mean, that's why Auckland is also quite different to the rest of the market, and why it is such a driver of the market overall. So, that uptick in sales, for example, looking at the breakdown regionally, you have to say that it would be Auckland sales that largely drove that. Although the others increased, it's the sheer volume that you're talking.
Well, look, thank you for your time, Miriam. Always nice to have you.
Good to talk.
And thanks for watching.